This is Torin Talks, and this is episode 2, Rewind of Game of Thrones. And I'm just going to talk about the parts I liked and the parts I didn't, and I'm just going to try to keep this short and sweet. And so, here we go. Episode 2 is all about Arya making it to the House of Black and White. She goes to the door. This, older guy comes to the door and she's all like, yeah, Jock and Hagar here. Boom. Nobody here by that name. And so she goes off, gets herself into some little brouhaha. And the old guy comes back around again. She throws the coin to the river first. And well, this because I can't get in, so whatever. And she follows the guy back.
Why were they scared of you?
You lost this.
You said there was no Jack and Hagar here.
There isn't. A man is not Jack and Hagar.
It is Jock and Hagar. Well, that's not him. He said he's no one. And that's who Arya must become if she wants to be a faceless man. Also, like the interaction when Brienne meets Sansa and she, just gallant. Like, I love Brienne because she is true to herself and she has standards. And, if she says she's going to do something, she's going to do it. And so she tries to pledge her sword to Sansa, and Sansa's like, I don't know you, I don't trust anybody, like, no. And Baelish doesn't make it any better, but Brienne still resolves that she is gonna follow Sansa because Sansa is not safe with Littlefinger, and she is right, because I wouldn't trust anybody with Littlefinger. I wouldn't trust one little doggy with Littlefinger, like some Cruella de Vil or something. Like, no, don't trust Littlefinger with anything. And so that was a good call. And she also saves Pod, and I love that her and Pod are like buddies, even though she kind of doesn't want to be Pod's buddy. So I kind of like the fact that her and Pod are becoming closer. Meanwhile, King's Landing, Cersei is just gotten this message that is a threat from Dorne. So she is freaking out. And she calls Jaime. And so he opens the box, and it is a medallion that she gave to Myrcella when she was sent to Dorne, wrapped inside the mouth of a viper. And Oberyn was called the Red Viper. Viper snakes are a symbol of Dorne, and so she knows that this means, your child is in danger.
He's a threat.
No note?
They blame us for the death of Oberyn and his sister, and every other tragedy that's befallen their cursed country. I will burn their cities to the ground if they touch her.
Softer.
He's telling Jaime, you need to do something. And so he's like, I'm gonna go get her because she's our daughter. And then she's giving him crap about not being a father. And it's like, dude, what do you want to do? He's your brother. If anybody would have found out, those kids would have got killed the instant someone found out, okay? Just cool your jets, Cersei. I know why she's crunk, but still, just chill. She needs to chill out. So Jaime wants to try to make it right because I think Jaime feels that he messed up with Tywin and Tyrion, and that wasn't a good decision. And so now he wants to try to do right by his family, and so he's gonna go get Myrcella from Dorne secretly because she's betrothed to the prince, so they just can't take her away. So he goes and gets Bronn to try to help him out with that mission, and Bronn's kind of like, I have me a cushy setup here, which totally falls through because Cersei backs out on the plan. But in the books, that's one thing that's different because Bronn does in the book, Bronn does marry Lawless, and her sister kind of has a untimely way to go, and they end up getting the castle because Bronn kind of makes sure that happens. But that's just one little diversion, but I don't mind seeing more Bronn adventures, so I don't care that they really changed that. So we finally get to see Dorne, and it looks amazing. And Alarya is having a conversation with Doran Martell, who is the brother of Oberyn Martell and his sister Elia. They're all brother and sister. Doran is the ruler of Dorne. And so she's coming to him, asking him what he's going to do about the fact that Oberyn was murdered in the capital. And he says, I'm going to mourn for my brother, but other than that, I'm not doing anything. And that is not the answer Ilaria wants to hear. So you kind of piece together that she is the one who sent the threat with the medallion to King's Landing, to Cersei. And she is threatening to harm Marcella. And Doran tells her, no, we do not hurt little girls here in Dorne. And she is hell-bent on getting revenge for Oberyn.
The Sand Snakes are with me. They have the love of their people. They will avenge their father while you sit here in your chair doing nothing.
In the north, they are having a vote to see who is going to become the new Lord Commander. And it's between Alistair Thorne, Mallister from Shadow Tower, and Jon Snow. But it's really between Alistair Thorne and Jon Snow. And Sam stands up for Jon and says he is the commander that they need.
Before that, he led the mission to avenge Lord Commander Mormont. Mormont himself chose Jon to be his steward. He saw something in Jon, and now we've all seen it too. He may be young, but he's the commander we turned to when the night was darkest.
And so they all have a vote. Jon Snow becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Over in Meereen, in Daenerys' camp, they are looking for the son of the Harpy, the guy who murdered her Unsullied, and Daario Naharis is telling Grey Worm, like, you have to feel your fear, because if you don't feel your fear, then you don't know what it's like to hide.
Fear is useful that way.
They take him away, and he ends up being murdered by Mosador, which is one of the freed slaves that's on Daenerys' council. And he did it because he felt like this guy would not get justice. Like, this guy would not get the justice that he deserved. Like, if it was a slave, they would have got their head chopped off if they did something. So he is delivering what is essentially known as street justice. And, you kill that dude, you get killed. Like, boom. So, but that's not the way Daenerys wants to do things. She wants to give the guy a fair trial. And so she's kind of bummed out that this dude took that power away from her. When it comes to pass that Mosador ends up killing this guy in his cell and, like, doing that whole deal, she is forced to make a choice to, like, you can't just take the law into your own hands. And so she has him in a public arena figuring out what his fate is. And all the people are chanting for mercy. He is one of them. He is a former slave. And they do not want to see him die, especially for killing someone who probably would have been doing something bad to them anyway. So they're pleading for mercy, and she's just kind of like, I gotta show my hand. Like, I can't just let this guy slide for killing someone. Just like I couldn't let that guy slide for killing Unsullied, I can't let this guy slide for killing him. It's just a slippery slope she just didn't want to slide down. And so Dario's waiting for the word, because, he's that guy. And she gives him the word, and the guy's dead. And the crowd turns. after the day, she kind of just like, leave me alone. So she's alone, but you know, she's just walking around and she hears something. So she goes outside, and Drogon, who no one has seen in like weeks, is on top of the pyramid. So she kind of like reaches out to him, and Drogon is like there, but he flies away. And it kind of reiterates what Dario was telling her about the dragons and how she needs the dragons to show her power and show her. And so that is where episode 2 ends. Barristan tells her, you can't just kill everyone because they upset you, or in your mind, they broke the law or they did something wrong. They need a fair trial. And so he goes to tell her about her father and calls him the Mad King. And she's like, I don't want to hear lies from my enemies. And he's like, you know, I was there. I was a Kingsguard member from the beginning. Like, they didn't lie about your dad. Like, he was crazy. You know, if he felt someone was on his wrong side, he burned people and laughed about it. Like, this guy was no joke. And, you know, he doled out the justice that he felt he deserved. And that is why people rose up against him, because this guy was brutal for no reason, basically. And she tells Barristan that, you know, like I'm not like that. Like, I'm not him. So I think he got the message through to her that he wanted, which is, you can't just go around firing everybody. That, you know, you do have to compromise. You do have to learn. And I know she's not a politician, but you do have to kind of give and take. That is ruling. That is what ruling is.